Ravendawn is a MMORPG released in early 2024 for PCs. The game has everything you'd expect from a MMORPG, with both PvE and PvP content. In Ravendawn, you can choose many different professions to make silver, such as lumberjack, fisherman, cooking, blacksmith, miner, and many more. But if you don't want to delve in any of that, you can just be a monster hunter for the Rangers company, or even a pirate. The devs are also constantly releasing new content for the game, making balancing changes to the gameplay and to the economy. Every patch day brings a lot of changes and new stuff, so it's always very exciting to read the patch notes. The game is free to play, with an optional subscription that gives many benefits. But the cash shop isn't pay to win, so this isn't one of those modern MMORPGs designed to catch whales, players that spend a lot of cash. In Ravendawn, there is no real money trading and no botting of any kind either. When I started playing, I joined a guild, and within less than a month, a lot of the guys got banned because they were either buying silver with real money or using bots. They joined the game thinking this was going to be like all the other games out there, riddled with bots and real money trading, and got banned right away. This is simply sublime for those who only want a fair game to play. If you want a fair game, Ravendawn is the game for you. In this game, when you see someone who is high level with godly gear, you'll know that guy worked hard to get it. He didn't simply cheat it with bots or real money. If you come to Ravendawn thinking you'll be able to bot or real money trade, like in all other games nowadays, you will get banned. So don't do it. Another thing that Ravendawn does well, which is rare nowadays, is the difficulty of the game. Ravendawn is hard. You pull one too many mobs that you can take and you're dead. You visit an area that you are not quite prepared or familiar yet and you're dead. You will die a lot in this game, and the penalty for that is very expensive, being one of the silver sinks of the game. This is simply phenomenal. I hate how brain dead modern RPGs have become in order to reach more players. Not Ravendawn. This is classic game design through and through, including the difficulty. If you like Ultima Online, RuneScape, Arcade, Ragnarok, this game is right up your alley. But the main inspiration for Ravendawn is Tibia. The game is heavily inspired in Tibia. Too inspired, to be honest. To the point that this is one of the biggest downsides of the game, in my opinion. This is because when you make a MMORPG that's so heavily inspired in another one, you end up not pleasing the fans of the original game, but you also end up not pleasing new potential players that could have come to your game if it didn't rely so much on the nostalgia of the game it tries to mimic. So what happened here is that the old nerds who are Tibia veterans couldn't care less about Ravendawn. And the potential new players wouldn't come to the game because they don't care about both Tibia or Ravendawn. And the main issue is the graphics. It's way too dated to attract the new players nowadays. I've tried to convince many of my friends to play the game, but since the graphics are so off-putting for today's standards, any of them didn't even bother, which is a shame. I'm sure that if the devs went for a different art style with more modern graphics, the game would have been much more successful. And the music is terrible too. We are going to mute it in less than 10 minutes of gameplay. Of course, this is not the first time we have seen this in MMORPGs. Every time someone's trying to make a game that looks exactly like another one, this always happens. The players of the old game don't come to the new one, and new players don't bother with it because of the similarity between the two. This phenomenon is exclusive to MMORPGs either. On other types of games, developers can make a huge success with games that are spiritual successors of older games. Say, a lot of people like Castlevania, for example. Someone makes a game that looks like it, and huge success, millions of copies sold. Stardew Valley is a spiritual successor of Harvest Moon. Undertale is a spiritual successor of the Earthbound series. There are lots of success cases involving spiritual successors out there in other types of games. Of course, there are many stinkers too that didn't live up to the expectations. But on MMORPGs, making a spiritual successor of a game always seems to fail. On MMORPGs, because of the huge amount of time invested by the players on their favorite title, making those spiritual successors always seems to result in failures. Tree of Savior copied Ragnarok Online, failed. Project Gorgon copied EverQuest, failed. Legends of Aria copied Ultima Online, failed. Not to mention the dozens of World of Warcraft and Lineage 2 clones out there. All of them failed because they didn't deviate enough from the game they tried to mimic. And, to be fair, Ravendawn does deviate a lot from Tibia. And I mean, a lot. Despite the graphics, this is not Tibia. So much so that many players expecting this to be a Tibia clone hated the game when they started playing because of how different they both really are. But try explaining that to a casual player who just saw a trailer or some gameplay footage on YouTube. This is the main issue with Ravendawn. To an outsider, this is just Tibia 2. Say, for example, if you show Ravendawn to someone who isn't a MMORPG enthusiast and say this is Tibia 2, New Frontiers, or something like that, I'm pretty sure that person would believe it without asking a question. Again, make no mistake, this is not Tibia 2. Actually, from my experience, this game felt much more like arcade. In my opinion, this is an isometric arcade. As I played, everything reminded of it. The crafting, sailing, farming, fishing, pirating, package delivering. This game felt just like arcade, true and true. Remember the 3-class system in arcade? Well, in Ravendawn, it's the same. You get to choose 3 out of 8 archetypes to make your character. And you can make some crazy combinations like an archer combined with a tank and a wizard. Depending on the weapon you are using, your avatar will change. There are player houses spread throughout the world, but you can have your own humble stanced house with a farm to make some cash. But in Ravendawn you cannot be only a farmer because of the effort system, in which you use up your effort points when you do your farming. To get this effort back, you need to go hunt some stuff. I believe that this system prevents people from making 1,000 of farming only accounts, which would ruin the economy. There is also a war mod server in which you get more experience and loot, but it's a no man's land with the PK always on. So, risk versus reward. The grind in this game is insane. To get strong, you need to level all the different 8 archetypes because they give passives to each other, even when you are not using them. We call it enacted archetypes. For example, let's say your main is a good old paladin, which is a combination of protection, warfare, and holy archetypes. Well, to be really strong, you have to level all the other 5 archetypes because they give you extra attributes and skill points to your main one. The build variety is huge because of how you can distribute those points and attributes. But having to level all of the classes isn't the most thing to do, to be honest. Ravendawn is by far the best MMORPG to play in 2024. All of the other ones are pay to win, bot-breeded garbage with brain-dead difficulty that even a 5-year-old can play. Ravendawn is a love letter to all things MMORPG. Stop wasting your time with private servers. Quit going back to classic server relaunches of old games that are re-recognizable for what they used to be, and just come to Ravendawn to have some good old fun playing this awesome game. Thanks for watching.